Today we're going to be reviewing this Eclipson Z-plane. I'm Larry and you're watching UAV TV. We've been gone for a while and we've been pretty busy. While we've been gone, we've been fixing our printers and getting them tuned up so that they'll print some decent airplanes. Now, I don't know if you've forgotten what we do, but we use the ANET A8 printer, and we use it to print these airplanes. Now, if you look at this airplane, you can see the quality of the print's not bad. I would imagine that there are $1,000 and $2,000 and $3,000 and $20,000 printers out there that'll do a whole lot better job than this one did. But for the money, this one is quite fantastic. And I've used a couple of really expensive printers and they seem to be incredibly slow compared to what these ANETs are. And this plane right here, we use a bank of about 6 printers and we can print this almost in one day, no problem. So that means you could probably print this plane if you were really on it and busy in about 4 days. And I like this because this is not the first Z plane that I've printed. Okay, I printed the first plane that I actually flew, and this plane has not flown yet, as of yet, by the way. But the first plane flew really well. I was very impressed with its handling. I really thought that because of this narrowing wing out here, it was going to tip stall really badly, but it didn't. It didn't seem to have tip stalling problems at all. The only problem was me. I mean, I got the thing too far away from me. I couldn't tell which way I was going, and I couldn't get it back under control before the battery started to go limp on me, and I crashed it. My fault. I had taken it off and landed it 3 or 4 times. It flew great. I had no problem with it, but I didn't trust the landing gear. And that was a bad on me. And I'm going to tell you why, because I have since put this landing gear on here. Now, if you take a look at this, I've only put the rubber bands on 2 of them, okay? I did that so I can show you how to put the rubber bands on, at least the way I did it. But you can see that these have some shock absorption to them. And it works pretty well. They're strong. They don't seem to break. Snap as I break it off. But they don't seem to break, and I'm pretty impressed with them. I'm looking forward to flying it with them on there and seeing how they do. But let me go ahead and put this rubber band on there, and then I'll show you just what it's like when you put the shock absorption on there. They work really well. I'm kind of impressed. They're kind of ugly and weird looking, but they get the job done. And I don't know if you're like me. I like to have a little airspeed when I take off, and I've noticed that most of the people that I have throwing my airplanes for me, they either crush the back of the fuselage or they don't throw it hard enough, and I end up trying to recover from some kind of a terrible throw. And a lot of times you can lose your airplane that way. So I like the landing gear. And these are steerable too, by the way. So let me go ahead and put this rubber band on here. You can just kind of watch what I'm doing. You just put it's the same kind of rubber band you'd use to put a wing on a full-size trainer. They're 64s, number 64 rubber bands. So that way, if you want to do exactly what I've done, you can put a number 64 rubber band on here. And they work really well. But you slip it under there once, and you hook it over here, over the little tab on the pivoting landing gear. And then you just kind of pull it a little tight so that you have plenty of slack, because you're going to go around it one more time and then back up again. And then what I do is I'll pull it down and kind of hold it against the bottom and use my finger to tuck it under there, like so, and then I'll just pull it up and flip it over there again, and you're all done. And it seems like it might be pretty tight, but these things are tough. They can handle it. So let me turn it over, and now it'll sit on there like it's supposed to, and not looking like it has a flat tire. But if you look, you have some shock absorption to this airplane. So you can have a pretty hard landing, and it's going to be nice to the airplane. And given how small the tail is in the back, it's probably a good idea that you have that. Another nice feature of this airplane is that it has a removable motor mount. It's got 4 screws right there. It's really easy to put your motor on first, shove it through from this side, and screw it on. And they put a lot of thought into this airplane when they built it, because they made the front landing gear steerable, and I didn't have to make something on my own. So what I've done is I've bent this little wire here to hold that in. You can put on whatever kind of clip you want to put on it, but that's the wire that I'm using. And as you can see, it's just got two Z-bends back to back, and it does a pretty good job. And then to pull the windshield off and the windscreen, that's all you have to do. So I mounted the steering servo and the rudder servo back here. They work really well in tandem, and I like it. I did some other things that, you know, everybody doesn't do. I've got a big giant steel washer holding down my battery strap, and that's for weight. I did that to get a little bit more nose weight. I have a little bit of trouble getting these 3D printed planes to balance, both from Eclipson and from 3D Lab Print. They're a little bit difficult to balance sometimes because you got a lot of tail back there and not a lot of room to balance them. But I will say this, the Z-plane was by far and away the easiest airplane I've had to balance so far. It balances pretty good all by itself. Just a little bit of steel washer in the front of there, and she's good to go. Just kind of keep your stuff forward of the CG when you mount it, like your receiver and your ESC. Keep that weight forward so that you have the benefit of it. Try not to get your servos back too far so that you know, you get to use that weight as well. One thing I was a little bit disappointed in is the fact that I had to use hinge tape. Okay, hinge tape on all of the surfaces, the control surfaces like the ailerons, the rudder, and the ailerons, rudder, and elevator. I don't like hinge tape, but I think you'll find that if you build this airplane, you're going to like the way that it flies. Just remember, it is noted to tip stall. It didn't do it to me very much unless I really dropped my airspeed. So when you're landing, keep your airspeed up just a little bit. Make sure you have good CG, maybe 3/4, ½ inch in front of the CG. As you can see, it's got looks like plus signs under here. That's the actual CG, and I always recommend that you go a little bit nose heavy. Ride on the elevator just a little bit, unless you're a really fantastic pilot and you want to do 3D acrobatics, but that's not my style of flying. So I always go a little bit heavy on the CG, and it works real well. On these servo covers, there are mounting brackets that are inside there that the servo actually screws to. So Eclipson put in a lot of thought when they built this, and I like the airplane. I do. It's easy to build, easy to print, and it flies well. So you can see that there's a lot of innovation in this airplane. And another thing that I really like about it is how often do you have an area that's this big to work with for your battery? I mean, this is crazy. There's so much room in here. I could have put stuff anywhere I wanted to. And the reason I did it this way is because this is where it worked best for me and where the CG worked. So I was able to put the battery, I got it up here close to the steerable landing gear up here. And this arm, this whole thing was easy to build, and it worked out really, really well. I like the way that it goes together. I just really do. So anyway, so we got a 4-channel receiver in there. We got our red brick ESC in there, and it comes right back around and plugs right into the battery. And then he put in a lot of thought on this canopy because it snaps on just that easy. And the little retaining pin holds it down well. Put your battery in there, or change your battery, or whatever it is you're doing that day. And snap that dude in there, and you're good to go. Ready to fly. Just like that. And put you a nice throttle cut, and you can see how close the propeller is to the ground when it's taking off. So if you're going to be flying the I can tell you this, if my finger's under here, it's going to hit my finger. Yep. So you have very little ground clearance between your propeller and here. You might want to go down a size propeller if your takeoff field is grass or you have rocks. So I take off on a really smooth, nice dry lake, and this works out really well for me. Okay, so that's pretty much my review of this airplane, but you can see as it's flying in the air that it's stable. It flies really, really well, and it's just a really nice airplane. So I don't think you'll have any trouble building this airplane, and I think you'll really enjoy it when you build it. And the nice thing about it is if you break something, you can fix it. If you watch some of our earlier videos, you'll see me doing just that, and I've done that to many of our airplanes, sometimes in the field. One thing that's a little bit sketchy about this airplane, however, is this wingtip. If you bump that in the door, getting it in the car, or taking it out of the car, or you're not paying real close attention and you hit the side of the truck or something like that, this will break really easily. So just kind of be mindful of that. Take a little CA glue and some accelerator with you. It's real easy to fix. This has been broken on this side just in construction because it's just so delicate and easy to break. Looks cool, but it's easy to break. So a little warning for you there. But other than that, hey man, build one, enjoy it. And this baby right here, the next time you see it in the air, will be the last time you see it in the air. We're gonna crash this airplane. We'll have cameras, one probably mounted right here, facing back so you can see the drone that's gonna be doing the crashing. We'll probably have one, I would imagine, somewhere in the back to film the carnage as the thing hits the ground. Should be pretty cool. I'm really looking forward to that part. It's fun to watch my grandson. Loves to destroy these airplanes. This one's going to be particularly easy. I think he's going to probably want to target the tail section right here. I really believe this is a weak spot in this airplane, and without a tail, these airplanes don't seem to fly very well. They come down really quickly, so be kind of fun to watch, fun to be part of and experience. So we hope you enjoy it.